What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Mark coming back to you today with another video. Today I want to talk about chasing validation is the enemy of happiness. I think oftentimes, man, when it comes to being a creative, being a creator, being a person that alchemizes their pain into purpose, and knowing the strength in which that takes to be vulnerable enough to come on camera, to be vulnerable enough to express yourself in music, to draw, to have people to try and perceive you in some type of way can oftentimes be challenging. Whatever your creative pursuits and or outlets may be, and or just whoever you may be, you may come from a household that may not have recognized who you are when you were younger, which then may have turned into you trying to like seek validation from what you do for other people as a means of giving you some type of kudos for just being who you are naturally. I think the when we're constantly seeking validation from people, the world, anything that's external and outside of us, it just takes away from what we're truly contributing. So like for me, for example, been drawn since I was a kid, that kind of transitioned into me making music. And, I've had spurts and moments where people have shown validation, where people have shown appreciation for my art, for my music, and whatever the case may be, and that feels good. I think you should have your own purpose in what you're doing, which eliminates the need for like anyone to like give you a pat on the back to make you feel good about what it is that you are choosing to do with your life. Whatever that may be. You may come from a household where you know in this household we are this, we're lawyers, we're doctors, we're this, and you may be like, no, I don't want to do that. I may want to be an artist, I may want to be a teacher, I may want to be something else outside of the program in which you may have grown up in. And so I think a lot of times the need for validation from the people around us in our day-to-day lives can often hinder us from getting to our true purpose, because at the end of the day, man, your life, my life are all reflections of the choices and decisions which we make. So as happy as you may be and or as happy as you may not be, it's also like your responsibility. I think I used to give so much credence to having people to validate me in their lives. Like, oh, I'm providing you so much value, I'm pouring into you, I'm giving you this, I'm giving you this, and you still treated me as if like I'm just an option, or you treated me as if like I'm nothing, or you treated me as if like, oh, that's just Mark, or whatever the case may be. Like, that is demoralizing. That is a thing that can really destroy a person's like psyche. But again, are you really doing it from a place of like love? Are you really doing it from a place of the betterment of the person? Or is it also self-serving? I think, the Bible talks about, work as if you work unto the Lord and not as for man. You know what I mean? So whatever you do, let it be a reflection of God truly through and through, and not for it to be self-serving, not for it to be, hey, look at me. I think even in my own early journey of like making music and stuff like that, my goal was like, oh, I just want to be the best rapper. I just want to be the coldest nigga out. I just want to be the nigga that just I can out rap. But it's just like now I think as in my 30s, I think now I'm looking at the art and the music from a place of like how can this song provide a person with some type of value? How can this song provide this person with some type of purpose at the end of the day? How can this improve on a person's life? And I think the more that I've been focused on coming from a place of like the promotion of Mark Clark, it's more or less about serving. Jesus was a server of the people, and so even in terms of like business serve people, all of this, so it's about giving, 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 and not giving from a place of like, not giving to a place and or people that are only taking, but giving from a place of like, regardless of the outcome of this, I know my heart, regardless of what I'm gonna get from this thing in terms of like validation and in terms of like monetary gain. Like I'm purely doing this place. I had seen Dr. Dre, he talks about, he's like, man, if I was a plumber, I'll still be making music. You know what I mean? Because I love it that much. And so when we start talking about, the reasoning and the why behind why you're doing what you're doing, it's just that. You know what I mean? It's just like, why are you really putting this song out? What's the purpose? What value are you adding to the world? You know what I'm saying? How is what you're doing pushing the people forward and or helping somebody else outside of just being self-serving? And I think that's like one of the biggest conversations that we're having when I watch like Dr. Umar and the Nick Cannon interview, where he's talking about like how, hip hop is destroying like the Black community. But he's not necessarily saying hip hop is destroying, Black communities. He's saying that, the constant perpetuating of the negative cycles in certain music, even though it may be somebody's reality, it is also kind of destructive to the race. You know what I mean? So if the only thing that we're feeding to our children is death and destruction, negativity, sexual promiscuity, things of this sort, then at what point does that only beget more of that to the people? You know what I mean? You're perpetuating these same negative cycles, these same sexual promiscuity. Like, what I want my daughter, I have to ask myself, like, damn, is this woman a reflection of who I want my daughter to be at some point? If the answer is no, then it's just like, what am I doing subjecting her to that? So I get that conversation, but I also get that, art is subjective and it's also meant to be a form of expression. But, if I'm putting out a message of positivity and spreading love, then why isn't that getting the same level of promotion? Why is it not getting the same level of validation? You know what I'm saying? So again, I think it just comes down to understanding and recognizing that what we're doing, regardless of everything external, because we can't control it, right? The biggest thing that we can focus on and control is ourselves at the end of the day. And so continue to be steadfast in what you're putting out and make sure that what you're doing is a true representation of who you are and what you want to put out into the world, from a creative standpoint, from, just from who you want to be, because, we can't live our lives for anything or anybody else but our own. And so if you're not happy with your life, if you're not willing to look a little bit funny versus what the 95% are doing, or what the world says you should be doing, then you'll only perpetuate what you're currently getting. So, have faith in who you are. Have unwavering belief in your abilities, and continue to trust that God is with you throughout it all. And because you got God, nothing else really matters outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Are you happy with what you're doing? Are you happy with what you're putting out? And are you reflecting true love in your messaging? Are you reflecting true love in the way you treat and honor what God has given you already? You know what I'm saying? And so as long as you treat and respect that, then that's all you really need at the end of the day. Faith is belief in things unseen, and trusting and knowing that God has continued to provide, knowing that God has continued to be a way maker despite everything that may have tried to come against you, is the greatest sign of validation that God is with you in your life, even when things may not reflect how you want them to. But in comparison to your past, look how far you have come. And that is the greatest blessing and the greatest sign of validation that you need. Man has no heaven or hell to put us in. I have no heaven or hell to put anybody in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to tell anyone how to be and or how to live and or what is deemed to be right or wrong. But this is just my perspective. At the end of the day, validation is the biggest enemy to your happiness. So trust and believe in yourself, family. Have faith in your abilities and continue to trust God through it all. You are your greatest gift. I love you. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you love on your journey. To God be the glory, for sure.